So there are a number of reasons why I do not create meal plans for my clients. And one reason is really because of self-efficacy. And there's this old adage, it is you can give a man a fish or you can teach a man to fish, and that will feed him for a lifetime. And I'm a firm believer in this because if you want your results to be sustainable and if you want to really make lifestyle changes instead of temporary changes, then you need to adopt this mindset. And I've worked at weight loss clinics where they gave individuals prepackaged meals already made. All they had to do was stick it in the microwave and heat it up for a minute, and it was ready to go. And this is great. People don't have to think. They don't have to do any of the work. They don't have to do any of the problem solving to figure out how cooking healthful meals for themselves fits into their unique life and circumstances. And it produces results. And people love results. And so, unfortunately, it does produce weight loss, but that weight loss is not sustainable because chances are this person is not going to want to eat these prepackaged meals for the rest of their life. And also, if we haven't gotten to the root of why we eat. So it's not as simple as eating when we're hungry. We eat when we are sad. We eat when we are happy. We eat when we are bored. We eat for all kinds of reasons. And if we're not getting to the root of that, of our relationship with food, then chances are we're going to revert back to those old ways as soon as we finish that program. And so also, the reason that program worked is because it's easy to stick to. People have the food there. Anytime that you want something, you just immediately pop that thing in the microwave. It's good to go. And there's always this calorie restriction, deprivation. And our body has defenses against this. So after a period of food scarcity, our body goes into conservation mode because our body can't differentiate between a Weight Watchers diet that is self-imposed and actual famine and food scarcity. And so what it does is it ups our hunger hormones. Okay, so that is really encouraging us to seek out foods, especially calorie-dense foods like processed sugars and carbohydrates, think chips and cookies and things like that. And not only that, but our body gets better and better at storing these calories as fat. Because again, it is in conservation mode. It's thinking, okay, if it happened before, it can happen again. And so it's trying to protect you and prepare you for another calorie shortage based on your set point that you're used to eating. And so it gets better at storing fat over time, and your body also slows your metabolism because it's in conservation mode, which means we want to expend as few calories as possible. We want to hold on to this just in case this happens again. We want to be ready. We want to survive. Survival is always going to surpass vanity and our want to look better and lose weight. Our evolution, that's just it trying to protect us again. And so for that reason, you're going to see results fast if you do a program like that, but it's going to be short-lived. You're going to end up right back where you started or worse because, again, your body is really encouraging you to store the fat and it gets better at that over time. So next time that you try to lose weight, it's going to be even more difficult to see that number go down. And instead of doing this approach, I really want to empower my clients to learn how to fold this into their lifestyle and unique circumstances. So, for example, if I have a client who's really trying to overcome depression and get off their depression medication, I might present some research to them, like high sugar consumption increases your risk of depression by 35%. Based on this information that I have gathered for them, they can decide their own food philosophy. Is this strong enough evidence for me to really prioritize this and work on limiting it from my diet and finding better alternatives? And if the answer is yes, that's where I come in. I help them find better alternatives. I help them understand where these sugars are hiding in their foods, and salad dressings, seasonings, lunch meats, so that they can really avoid those and restore their mental health. And not just taking things away, but also helping them to find alternatives that are delicious and just as good. And, this ultimately does reduce sugar cravings and make it so that you don't have that strong, ravenous desire for sugar all the time. So that is hugely helpful. But that's just an example. I'm not giving my clients meal plans, but I'm also not leaving them without the tools and resources to implement these things. And so it's really learning as we go. So say we had a plan to meal prep every Sunday for the full week. Turns out I don't really like leftovers. So we need to problem solve. We need to find quick, fast protein options, have vegetables on hand that are easy to add into that, and other ingredients to make sure we have a well-balanced meal that is fast, that is sustainable, and one that's not too overwhelming that you're going to end up ordering out. And these are the kinds of things that I focus on. And another reason for my approach is because really trying to help people get rid of the diet mentality, which is perpetuating that same cycle we talked about earlier. When there's a period of food scarcity, of calorie deprivation, that really encourages that binge eating cycle. And it is a vicious cycle that leaves us feeling defeated and guilty, and just really reduces our motivation, causes us to lose hope. And we don't want that. And so I am really trying to help my clients understand their relationship with food, why they eat, find healthier coping mechanisms. Because if the only way we know how to feel better is to lean on these unhealthy foods, which give us a quick dopamine hit that is short-lived, it's not really getting to the root of the problem. It's not helping us to really reduce stress, but in fact could ultimately make our stress worse by leading to this guilt and causing us to become less healthy, which is even more of a stressor on our life. So we find healthier coping mechanisms that really reduce stress. So moving, that helps to release endorphins and offset cortisol. Getting outside in nature, which activates our parasympathetic nervous system, which is our rest and digest state. How can we eliminate stress in our life that is unnecessary, that we don't need? And things like that, creating new expectations for ourselves and new standards for ourselves so that we can live a full life and not be stressed out and miserable all the time. So finding healthier coping mechanisms that work. And then also, that is one reason we eat for the wrong reasons that can cause us to put on the pounds and compromise our health. And, learning the difference between cravings and physical hunger. So we can recognize physical hunger and we can honor that, we can respond to that, and we can recognize cravings and realize, oh, we're bored. Maybe I will go and work on that project instead. And again, this is going to help us just get closer to that normal eating, that normal relationship with food that gets just damaged over the course of time, from childhood through adulthood. We're told to clean our plate when we're a kid. We are told not to eat this from someone because of something they read in a magazine, and that sticks with us. So we have all these good foods and bad foods, and it's really hard and difficult to navigate, and it becomes overwhelming. So instead of that, learning to eat when we are physically hungry, honoring that, and matching what we eat with what we want. Now, it sounds simple, but again, we just develop these disordered eating habits over decades even. And so it's quite a project to relearn this. And so our bodies are so smart in that we might be craving a burger because our iron levels are low. We're iron deficient. And so our body is encouraging us to eat some red meat because it knows we can get iron from that food. We get a lot of iron from that food. Now, that doesn't mean we're going to match what we want and go get a Burger King Whopper. No. We have the tools and resources, and we know we can grab that preformed burger patty out of the freezer, cook it up in a few minutes, caramelize some mushrooms and onions, add some avocados. We're getting the healthy fats, we're getting the fiber, we're getting the protein, and we can feel satisfied after that meal versus telling ourselves, oh no, that's bad, I'm not supposed to eat that because Janet was on Weight Watchers and they said it was bad, and so I'm not going to eat that. I'm going to have just a salad instead. Well, not honoring that hunger and our body's inherent need and desire to nourish us is going to lead us to binge eat later on and be scavenging through the pantry for whatever we can find, because again, we're creating that deprivation mindset, telling our body that we are deprived, and our body's going to be seeking out those nutrients still. So trying to find a good match for your hunger is really important, and it's going to be a lot easier to stop when you are comfortable, because your body responds to nutrients, not calories. So after you eat that burger and your nutrient needs have been met, your body, your brain are gonna let you know, like, we're good. You know, your satiety hormones are going to be increased, and you're going to be able to walk away from the table feeling satisfied, feeling comfortable, not feeling deprived, not feeling uncomfortable from overeating and having all these negative symptoms. And that is really the core of sustainable health and weight loss, is just relearning this process that is inherent within us. And it's our biology, and there is a way to restore this, and it is so satisfying, and it is so freeing to not feel out of control around food, to not be preoccupied with thoughts about food. I can't eat this. Can I eat that? Is this too much? But instead, just tuning into our body, simply listening to our body and what it needs, and having that strong, comprehensive knowledge about those sneaky ingredients in our foods, having an abundance of those alternatives that are just as delicious and even way more nourishing for our bodies on hand, so that we're creating that abundance mindset. And that's not going to lead to overeating and binge eating, but instead it's going to make us feel more calm around food. And that is everything. It is just such a relief. And so this is my hope for all of you who have been stuck in that chronic dieting mindset and mentality. It is exhausting, and it just perpetuates itself over and over again, and makes it even harder for us to get the results that we want. And so nipping this in the bud, and honoring our hunger and our needs, understanding that we can't just follow a meal plan that we find online, because maybe it was a man, a 250-pound male athlete, who created that meal plan for himself. Or maybe it was for a woman who is 20 years old, has a much faster metabolism than a woman who is 40 years old. Our hunger, our metabolism, our needs depend on our cycle, our feminine cycle, and so many other factors, right? Our genetics, right? Maybe we need more iron because we're prone to iron deficiency. And so while you've heard red meat is bad, for you, it is incredibly important and absolutely vital, and just knowing quality and choosing quality over that Burger King burger, so that you don't have to worry about those choices, but you can feel confident about your choices. That is everything, and that is my hope for you all, and it has been life-changing for me and so many of my clients, and it is truly sustainable. It changes your cravings. It changes your taste buds. So I had a client who, our first week, she was like, okay, well, I love cupcakes. So how many times a week can I have cupcakes? Because they're like always around, and, I just can't imagine my life without cupcakes. And now she's sitting around a bonfire where everyone is eating s'mores, and she has zero interest in the s'mores. She just doesn't want them. She's not fighting cravings. She's not relying on self-control and willpower. She simply doesn't want it. She knows that doesn't usually make me feel that good, and I'm not hungry, and I'm just happy to be here with everyone. It is amazing, and it is possible for you and for everyone. And so if you are struggling with this binge eating cycle, stuck in that diet mentality, then please reach out. My clients, I give them all the tools, all the resources that they need, even prepackaged meals, meal delivery services for maybe it's the week of the holidays. You're stressed, you're decorating, you're cleaning, you're doing all of these things. we're not leaning on that long term. It is a temporary resource so that we can sustain this lifestyle, so that we don't have to turn to takeout and relapse. And so this is my hope for all of you, and I encourage you to please reach out and we can talk about my program and talk about what you are going through. So thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.